On the computer, I can take a silk curtain and hang it up on a grimy wall, put on an expensive looking suit, and maybe put a fake diamond stick pin in my tie. And I can put myself forth as a philanthropist or a big business magnate. And people, by the very view or by the very sight of me, will have to believe me or reject my vision that I put forth. But we are a people whose heroes, whose highest paid in the land, who has the most notoriety, play or pretend or act. Baseball players do not go around smacking the ball at the supper table. They do not put their mitt on to drive their car. When they go to a social gathering, they do not wear their uniform. This is for a certain time, to put on a certain persona, to make money, and to play to entertain people. An actress or an actor will study their part. They will adjust themselves, their speech, their mannerisms, to make us believe that we are watching the actual person. And on the computer, we can do the same thing. On the computer, we can be anything we desire to be. And the fearful thing of it is many people enjoy that kind of reality, to where they can be a master physicist on one day, or they can be someone who works in a factory the next. Your reality changes with the person that you are discussing or coming into contact with. And yet the computer is the most popular of our accomplishments that can ever be made. The computer runs our lives. If you remember the Y2K experience, where many learned men said that toasters or anything with a computer chip in it might get up and walk away, because we failed to set the inner clock to go to the year 2000. And we did not know how the machine was going to react. I've known people who prayed, who said that this was the end of the world, and who came forth with the idea that the computer, because of a malfunction, was going to change their lives. And certainly that's happened. Computer glitches have caused terrible, terrible suffering for people, groups of people, and even society. Credit card glitches, identity glitches. But it is all based on our faith in something that can change our reality so quickly. Something that can be changed by our whim, by any desire that we might have. I've seen videos on YouTube where young people put forth, it looks like extravagant effort to make an amateur video. And they look professional. They have the illusion and create the illusion of what the people who are guiding it desire for it to be. And certainly we as Christians can do the same thing. We as Christians can put a flowing, glowing testimony, prayer, declaration on the computer and go out and kick the dog, so to speak. We do not have to be honest with the largest accomplishment in man's technology. Be it the cell phone, be it the iPad, be it the computer. And you've heard the saying, junk in, junk out. This marvel of science, this processor of vast amounts of information, can only process, can only validate what is put into it. Thank God man is not that way. Although we are swept along in many times in the rush of unreality, we are carried away by people whose identities are what they want them to be instead of what they really are. We believe, we validate them, and many times are crushed under their weight. And I'm sorry to say there are many personalities on the computer that have come as destroyers. They have come as hunters, and there is no joy greater than to fool and to laugh at somebody who is being gullible in that foolishness. God help us. God help us as Christians that we do not partake in that bitter cup. God help us that we strive to be honorable, to be honest with ourselves. And if we sin, let us not say it is because of so-and-so's actions. It's because of a power that is outside my control. The publican came to Christ with an attitude that he could not even lift his head to look into the heavens. But the Bible says he smote his chest and he said, Lord, be merciful to me, a sinner. He recognized who he was. In recognizing who he was, he recognized what he had done. And he also recognized his need. Number one in the quest for salvation is realizing we are not as perfect as we put ourselves forth to be, or as we even think we are. We are not as well versed in the Bible. We are not as close to God as we like to make ourselves appear. Because if it is going to bring us imagined shame, imagined rebuke, or real rebuke, we stay away from it. And God sits upon the throne amid the thunders and the lightnings, and he says, I am truth. When I speak to you, I speak the truth. When I desire you to speak, I desire for you to speak the truth. None of this computer hocus pocus, because the one that you need to impress is not being fooled. He doesn't think for 1 second that you are what you represent yourself to be if you are being dishonest with your soul. Think of it. A man being dishonest with the very seat of his existence. How much of that man can be left? How much can be salvageable? This is why the skid rows of society are constantly full. And there is very little deliverance when they reach there. Because they have fooled themselves. They have fooled men around them to such a degree that there's nothing left to present. There's nothing left to believe in. There's no shred of truth that they haven't destroyed. And so their souls are gone, are in effect dead, because they have not lived in reality. They have not faced the truth. I would like to have a $500,000 house. Why? Because there's probably a lot of things in a $500,000 house that I haven't experienced. Now, do I desire to go around and tell everybody that I own a $500,000 house? Mercy, no. Because nobody really cares. And those who will listen are those who will try to get a $700,000 or $800,000 house. But just to say that I was there, just to say that I have tasted the sweetness of the land, would be nice. But my reality is, I will never make it. I am waiting for the third of the month. And the reason that I'm waiting for the third of the month is because we're out of money. Thursday is my target day that I can go out and make my reality again. My reality. But the real truth and the real reality is from month to month, a week and a half before payday, the money runs out. And I cannot afford coffee. I cannot afford a pack of French fries. That is my reality. And I have just put forth my reality on YouTube so that everybody knows what my reality is. And there's no promise for it to change. I'm 67 years old. I had to retire early because my mother was sick, and we didn't know it, but she was dying of lung cancer at the time. She lost her contact with reality at the same age as her only living sister did, and died of the same type of lung cancer. That's reality. And whether I like it or not, whether I try to change it or not on the internet, I will live from month to month on what the government hands to me. Am I enjoying the true blessings of God? Yes, I am. The rain falls on my head just like it does everybody else. The sun is enjoyable upon my skin just like everybody else. And the air, the fresh air, when I can get it here, is so sweet. Those are the blessings of God. The ground is still solid below my feet. People still greet me with a happy face. People still like to see me coming and enjoy to greet me. That is the basic reality of my life. And I enjoy every minute of it. Can I put myself forth as prophet who is not touched by trouble, by heartache, by vexation of spirit, by vexation of people? No. And that would not be truthful to put forth. Am I victorious over Satan? No. That would not be truthful reality to put forth. Yes, the Bible says resist the devil, and he will flee from you. The Bible says that Jesus, after his 3 temptations, before he went into his ministry, resisted Satan. And he did it the only way that has power in it, by quoting the words of his Father. And the Bible says that Satan left him for a season. But he did come back. The tempter was always there. He was tempted on all sides as we are, but did no sin. The Bible says that the reality of it is Satan walks around as a roaring lion, seeking whom may devour. Constantly hungry, constantly looking for the next prey. On the computer, out there on the streets, on the job, in your own family. There are those who are willing to work with him. There are even Christians who are so weak in the faith, weak in their own self-esteem or Christian self-esteem, that they are blown by every wind of doctrine, and that everything seems right in their own eyes. Even the destruction of a brother's soul. Reality starts with you. Be truthful with yourself always. If you say something that should not have been said, chastise yourself. Ask for God's guidance. He never tires of hearing that kind of request. And in doing this, you bring your soul the humility that is so vital for its growth. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but test them. It doesn't say accuse them. It doesn't say walk away from them. It doesn't say turn a deaf ear. It says test them. And as I mentioned in the previous video, part 1, the attitude, the personality, the direction of that individual, whether they have the trappings of a millionaire behind them, whether they talk a good show, will come out. You cannot hide who you are. forever. And this is what the minister of God is banking on. Is that sometime, whether you sit before the computer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you will have to come to that question. Is that person I see on the camera the person that I want to transmit to the world? Is the lie, is the deception that I'm putting forth something that I want to continue? And if the answer is yes, then I want you to know that I'm praying for you, because you have no reality. You have no life. You have no point where you are going to come to a realization to be truthful with yourself. And therefore, there is no point of redemption until you come to the realization that you have to be real no matter where you're at. You must be real. And being honest with yourself or being honest with others and dishonest with yourself does you no good. Be honest and brutally honest with yourself, and then transmit that to others. God bless you. Stay in the scriptures. Stay on top of what God desires in your life. Listen to Him, know His voice, and know exactly the direction He wants to take you. And the enemy may come in like a flood, but he will not move you. Maranatha.